Hello, ladies, and welcome back. Today, you see on the screen is an article that I will be reading and sharing from ABC News. The nation's economic recovery is still unequal for black workers. Black workers were the only racial or ethnic group whose unemployment rate is increased overall in August. I'm choosing to do a excerpt on this article because I really want to pinpoint how this is going to affect black women. Why should we care about this, and why should we have a conversation about this? I'm not saying that there are biases when it comes to the system as well as employment. However, the choices that we choose to make in our own personal lives does affect what happens to us in the long run. It does also affect our employment. The young woman that you see here on the screen is a biracial woman with her biracial children. I believe her children are by a black man, and her father is a black man who is married to a white woman. Okay, and as you can see here, her situation and what she is going through, she is a product of her environment, and she is also a product of the low income status of both her parents. This article was written by Bracy Harris. As the Delta variant crept through Mississippi this spring, Ashley Brown kept showing up at her elderly clients' homes, arranging their medication into pill organizers, sweeping their floors, and washing their clothes. Then she contracted COVID-19 in July, forcing her off the job for 2 weeks. She thought a negative test was her ticket back to a paycheck, but her shifts were reassigned while she quarantined, and when she recovered, her job was gone. This is why I choose to emphasize so much on my channel about education, and education will remain to be the core heart of my channel and the main focal point of my channel. And this is why I encourage you ladies to please get multiple skills, go back to school, do other things, because in my last channel, I talked about these type of jobs where, these home healthcare jobs are not reliable. They are quick sources of income, but, they have such a huge turnover rate. You have people quitting all the time. You have your schedule being rearranged when you didn't ask it to be rearranged. These home healthcare places, they are going to do what's best for their schedule. So if they want to take you off the schedule that day, they're going to do so without asking a lot of times. Or, they'll put you on a schedule where you've never worked with a particular client before, but they do not care because they need that coverage. Women of color like Brown, whose mother is white and father is black, are often likely to have low-wage jobs like home care work, which offer a critical service but lack protections, including paid sick leave and predictable schedules, like I stated before in my previous video. By August, what has started for Brown as a 2-week pause without income threatened to stretch indefinitely. The 24-year-old mother of 4 started filling out applications for fast food restaurants and a tool manufacturer. But the early morning hours would make it all but impossible for her to arrange childcare. The career she had lost had been her best option. That's the only job that works around my kids' schedule, she said. And you have to wonder, reading through all of this, where is the father of her children at? Because 9 times out of 10, the father of her children is a black man. And you can pretty much tell by looking at her children. So this is going to be a never-ending cycle. This is a very hard cycle to get out of. And by the age of 24, this woman has already had 4 children. And, at some point as women, we have to have some type of accountability. After the first child, it should have been a lesson learned. After the second child, it should have been a lesson learned. After the third child, it should have been a lesson learned, because you knew that, the situation that you were currently in was not substantial, unfortunately. And black women, this is what you don't want to get caught up in. And I know that I may offend somebody, but black women, allow them to be the new face of single mothers, because other races of women are slowly but surely finding out. These biracial women are finding out, a lot of them the hard way, that they are going to be in the same predicament, unfortunately, of a lot of black women who have became single mothers. But I understand that this young lady is 24 years old. She's young, but she's still an adult, because I mean, after the second and third baby, it should have been truly a lesson learned. There should have been, signs that the baby's father was not going to change, because after the second and third child, it was already set in stone. And I'm sure she possibly could have had a visual to see that this particular man that you kept having children by, this particular black man that you kept having children by, was a bum. And, this is a situation, unfortunately, that could have been avoided. Let's move on. Among the millions of unemployed Americans who sought jobs in August, prospects were particularly bleak for black workers, who were the only racial or ethnic group whose unemployment rate increased overall. About 9% of black men and 8% of black women were out of work in August, an increase of about half a percentage point from July for both groups. The outlook was better for white men and white women, who had the lowest unemployment rate of 4.5%. Now, again, you have all these channels on YouTube talking about how winter is coming for black women, and how black women are going to have to run to black men for a safe haven. But as we can see here, the data states and shows on NBC News that even more and a higher percentage of black men have been unemployed in August than black women. So if winter was in fact going to come, black women definitely wouldn't even have a leg to stand on to run to black men for anything, because they are in a worse predicament, in a worse unemployment predicament than black women. Let's take time to look at the raw data that is presented here on the screen. The unequal struggle to find work. Black unemployment rose in August 2021 while falling for other groups. Black, white, Asian, and Hispanic. And then you have numbers from 2019 through 2021. Along with the data that has been presented from 2019 to 2021, the source comes from the Bureau of Labor Statistics. You can also find this on the NBC News website along with the article. She brought us some cash by braiding hair, and her father helped with $150 each month. But she lacked the security of full-time work and soon started worrying about how she would afford the internet needed for her daughter's classwork. If a client had to choose between paying bills or a new hair appointment, Davis knew where she would fall. Her first check back was $355. The next one was $474, closer to what she used to bring home bi-weekly. Yes, you heard that absolutely correct. $474 bi-weekly, having 4 children. But her expenses pile up. She drops $25 every time she fills up her car to visit her clients. And her youngest children are 8 months and 2 years old and go through diapers and pull-ups quickly. Plenty of barriers to stability remain. Brown is one of thousands of parents who advocates in Mississippi say have lost a voucher that helps low income families pay for their children's daycare tuition. Previously, she qualifies for about $250 per week. Brown said her certificate was taken away after an eligibility check. When reviewers claimed she had not taken the steps to receive child support payments for her children, an assertion she denies. Mississippi requires recipients to pursue the payments to receive the voucher. Now, she's claimed that she has denied that she did not try to claim child support, but it says here Mississippi requires recipients to pursue the payment to receive the voucher. So the question is, did she continuously pursue to receive payments to continue her voucher? And ladies, this is what I'm talking about. We have to make smarter decisions. We have to make smarter decisions. This is a young woman who is 24 years old with 4 children. After the first child, it was not a reality check for her. After the second child, it was not a reality check for her. After the third child, it was still not a reality check for her. After the fourth one, it still did not hit her. Now, I understand right now we are in an atmosphere in these spaces where, we are divided in our personal beliefs when it comes to children. But I'm going to tell you like this, not all children in every predicament is a blessing. This is not a blessing situation. This is not a blessed situation. I don't have disdain for children. I don't have disdain for babies. However, this is extremely asinine. It's ludicrous. First child, same predicament. Second child, same predicament. Third child, same predicament. Fourth child, same predicament. After 4 kids, the first child she was in this situation had to been. She does not come from parents who are able to fully help her out. You read the article where it states in here that her father, her black father, can only give her $150 per week, and he can't even help her do no more than that. She's surviving off of $300 to $475 every 2 weeks with 4 children, with no father in sight. Mississippi requires recipients to pursue the payments to receive the vouchers. How hard has she continuously pursued? This is unfortunately a young woman who knows that if she does not get help from the state, then she is going to drown. This is why I tell you, ladies, be very, very careful, because you don't realize that you are sliding on an extremely thin line by listening to certain content. Because if you listen to certain content, you could possibly find yourself in this situation. And I know that may sound over exaggerant to a lot of you ladies, but please hear me out. If you make any mistake at vetting a man incorrectly, okay, you could be left a single mother and have to go through this. This is why also on my channel, I encourage you to stay child free as long as you possibly can. I am an advocate for that. Stay child free as long as you can. Close your wounds. Until the day that you have a ring on your finger, you do not need to be opening your wombs to anybody. Shut it down. Shut it down. This is an unfortunate cycle that this young woman has found herself in. And, a lot of times we want to say that, well, it's harder for Black people. It's harder for people of color. But a lot of times we don't like to pay attention to the raw data and the raw statistics, and also the real and true decision making that we have in this community. We can blame racism all day long. We can blame that there is an unplaying field all day long. But we don't like to acknowledge the flaws in decision making that we have in this community. And that needs to be addressed, because after the first child, that should have been a reality check for her, because she was already living in poverty when she got pregnant the first time, when she got pregnant the second time, and when she got pregnant the third time, and when she got pregnant the fourth time. How many more times does it have to take? Because if you know you don't have any skills, if you know that you don't have any type of degree or certifications, and you're working these fast food jobs and you have to depend on these home health care places to put you on a schedule and pray to God that you get at least 40 hours a week, which I know she's not getting. She couldn't be working full time, because there is no way she's working full time and getting paid 400 something dollars every 2 weeks. And she can't even get a second job, because who's going to watch her kids? And she can't afford to pay anybody. So she's literally stuck. She's literally stuck. Because after 4 kids, you're only making 400 and something dollars every 2 weeks. So that means you're not even working full time. You can't even afford, as crazy as it sounds, she can't even afford, because if we do the math and really think about it, she literally cannot even afford to work full time. And what I mean by that is, if she were to work even full time, that's going to be more money in childcare. So 400 something dollars every 2 weeks, she's probably getting paid 12, probably a little 11, $12 an hour, especially since she's living in Mississippi. She's getting paid not that much per hour. So if she puts in a full 40 hours every 2 weeks, that's going to be her whole check for childcare. She's not even going to have any money left over to buy food, Pampers, milk, nothing. So, ladies, I really hope that this was a reality check, and I hope that this raw data was able to put things into perspective. Ladies, my message to you is to stay child free as long as possible, until the day that you have a ring on your finger and you officiate it on paper legally, and it's recognized by the state. Other than that, close your wombs. Ladies, I want to thank you so much for listening, and I will talk to you in another podcast. Bye-bye.